Okay, my replacement LEDs, the cold white LEDs, have arrived. I may have over-ordered slightly, but I shall now have a go at replacing a few of these ones over here which I cocked up last time, and then we can compare them to this one, which is a more warm white, as opposed to these ones which are quite cold. So let's do some desoldering, I guess. Well, it's kind of stuck on there. I don't know if you can see this, but the thickness of the new LED is a lot less than the other ones. Is that a good thing? I don't know. So I've put in a couple of my new LEDs, which are apparently cold white, which is what we want, and we'll fire them up and see just how cold and white they are. Shall we? Oh, they're much better. So, if I bring the camera in. So we can see here the three different types of LEDs. These ones here are the original ones, which are pretty good actually. They're pretty bright. These are the original one, the original replacement ones I dropped in. This one's not working for some reason. These are the original ones I dropped in, and they are ever so slightly yellow. They're just not what I'm looking for in terms of colour. But this is the new one I've dropped in, and that one as well, but that one's not working. And that is what I would class as the right colour for what I'm trying to do. So all I've got to do now is replace most of these. I'm not going to replace the top row. I've decided that. I'm just going to put a switch in place and see what it looks like with a keycap on it, the new one compared to the old one. Hang on. So I don't know if you can see. Let's have a look. They're approximately the same brightness. I'm going to be quite happy with that, I think. Good. I had horrible visions of things not working out. Also, as if by magic, my replacement switches have arrived. Now, the blue ones, which I think are you, that I've taken off, are actually a known brand. They're not just some no-name stuff. They are... I don't know if we can see this on the camera. Probably not. No. So, I can get my magnifying glass out. I think they're Otemu or something along those lines, which apparently are quite a good make. I certainly have no complaints about these switches as clicky switches. They're great to type on. I really like them. The replacement switches that I'm going to put in, however, are these ones. These are, I believe, if I don't think we can zoom in on them and focus it, probably not. These are Gatron clears, and there's no click on them at all. There's a nice resistance, but they're linear switches. So I shall change all the LEDs to white LEDs, all the switches to white switches or clear switches, and all the keycaps to white keycaps. It'll look lovely, and hopefully it will type quite well. But I guess the fun bit now is going to be replacing all these LEDs. So we've removed all the LEDs. There they are in a little pile. Some of them came off really easily, some of them I basically melted to get off. I think I've got it sussed how to get them off now, which is okay because I've now removed them all. I've had to mark on the board a few sort of marks here and there. So here, for example, there's a switch that isn't used in this configuration, another one here, another one here, and a couple down the bottom, and one more over here. And when I removed the LEDs, it became apparent that I wouldn't necessarily know where to put them back. I've used up half a reel of braid cleaning up all the pads, so they're all nice and clean. So all I've got to do now really is give the board a clean to get rid of some of the flux that I used to get the things off, and then I will be in a position to start thinking about putting the LEDs on. Oh, that's a lovely smell. Makes me want to go out and have a beer. So I'll just use a bit of bit more. That's what I wanted to do. So that's kind of got a little bit sticky actually. It does say isopropanol on the bottle. In any case, that's cleaned up reasonably well. I did have a little bit of a problem with this one here. I've lifted the pad. It's still connected to the track, however, So I reckon as long as I'm reasonably careful with it, it'll be fine. But I guess we'll see. So now the only LED, only new LED is the test one that I put on earlier here. I've removed all these ones which weren't quite right, and I shall drop all the new LEDs on. So I've replaced a few of the LEDs, and as you can see, they are on a par in terms of colour with the existing ones. So all these along here now are clear of LEDs, it's all cleaned up. So I'm going to be doing a bit of soldering. So all my LEDs now light, and they're all of a colour that I'm happy with. All that's left to do in terms of LEDs now are these two very, very small ones. I can probably get one on because it's a caps lock. There we go. Which, as you can see, or maybe you can't see, as you can see, are blue. Which I've got to say annoys me slightly. So that's the caps lock one. The other one, I confess, I don't know what it does. The board on the back says win. Win. What does that mean? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm probably going to change the win one first because I don't know what it does, and on the other board I've been unable to get it to illuminate at all. So yeah, we'll have a go at getting that off, shall we, and put the next one on. I'd just like to point out that, oh no, I'm going to show you again. So I was shorting out the switch on the caps lock here in order to get the caps lock light to come on, and really all I needed to do was to press the caps lock on the other keyboard. No further comment needed. Well, that's in. Though I do think maybe fitting the Win kit, the Win LED, was not helpful from a test point of view, because I have no idea how to make the Win LED come on. Yeah, I should have thought about that a bit more, really, shouldn't I? Right, let's get the other one off. Remember that game, Operation? Well, this is exactly the opposite, and yet I keep dropping it in the hole. Oh, there we go. Now I confess at this point I wasn't paying enough attention as to which way round this LED was when I took it off, so I'm assuming it was the same way round as the other one. We will find out. The other point to make is that this soldering iron is about 1.5 inches too wide to actually solder these properly, but we'll see. So them two are now in place. To find my lead. So, sure there's no solder underneath. And let's see what happens. So all the LEDs work as before, caps lock. Woohoo! Let's do a zoom. So you can see the little caps light, it's the one that remains on. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. A white caps lock. Beautiful. All the LEDs are now in place. I've replaced the caps lock, I've replaced the wind light, I don't know what that does. They're all nice bright white LEDs. We're ready to start doing the next phase, which is fitting the little white switches. I can put a little white switch on at the moment, just so we can see what it looks like. I'll get it in the hole. So it looks pretty good. There is a slight difference in brightness stroke colour between the top row, which I haven't changed, and the bottom row, but I don't think it's noticeable when you've got the switches on. Now the question is, so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up the metal board. So that I can see that all the switches are in the right places, which is awesome. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I wonder where I stole that from. So I think we're at the stage where we want to start rebuilding this keyboard. I've refitted a little plastic thing for the LEDs on the caps lock and the wing light. It's all been cleaned up on the back. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to start putting the switches back on. As predicted, all the little bendy aluminium bits that hold the board in have broken off. There's one here which you may or may not be able to see, which is a shame, but to be expected really. So we put this back on, so that feels about right. There is one screw on the back under here, I believe. There it is. I think that's the right screw. So that just holds everything together nicely. Kind of. And then we need to fit these little bars back in, which I'm never quite sure how to do. Okay, so soldering's done. This keyboard is practically finished, I hope. Less clicky. What I need to do now is, before I put it back in its box, in its case, I should say, I ought to test it. Because it would be embarrassing, frankly, if I put it all back together again and I had to take it apart because one of the keys wasn't soldered properly, or let's hope that there isn't a case and one of the LEDs not working anymore. That would be very bad. Okay, so we're going to test it. So all the lights still seem to work. If I press the scroll lock key, certainly that key works. So they're all off, now they're all on, which is quite bright. So I'm just going to go into a keyboard testing program and give it a whiz. Unfortunately, it's an American keyboard testing program, but meh. Escape works. Control. Okay. All my lights work. All my keys work. This is a win. So I think we'll call this one the TechNet Ice White. It's kind of beautiful.